Hello and welcome to Factish. I'm Lincoln. So in recent months, various Chinese social media firms and tech giants like Huawei and TikTok have come under intense scrutiny from abroad, with the Indian government having banned TikTok outright 2 months ago, 59 other Chinese social media apps, which they claimed were engaged in activities prejudicial to the sovereignty and integrity of India. And with US President Donald Trump recently announcing his intention to ban TikTok, people the world over are weighing and judging the opportunity cost of such Chinese apps. However, there is one app in particular that's not nearly as talked about, surprisingly, considering the widespread potential ramifications for its viral use or its amazing capabilities, and that app in question is WeChat. WeChat is in no way obscure, but it is mostly falling under the radar in terms of the current Chinese apps controversy, where it's losing the limelight to TikTok and Huawei. Now, if you spent any stretch of time in China, or if you follow the news regularly, you'll probably have heard of something called the Great Firewall, which is, in layman's terms, a gigantic internet filter which has in some way cut China off from the rest of the World Wide Web. So the Great Firewall is managed by Chinese internet censors that report directly to the Chinese government, which are essentially a gigantic bureaucratic state-running apparatus controlled solely by the Chinese Communist Party, which has a well-established and recorded dislike and habit of casting out things on the internet it can't really control. So this in turn means that large foreign-based websites like Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter, and Instagram that the Chinese government has little to no control over end up getting blocked in China. But that's not to say that the Chinese themselves don't have any idea about what video sharing platforms are, or microblogging, or social media sites. See, given the rather insular nature of the Chinese internet, or ChinaNet, many alternatives to the aforementioned websites and services actually exist for the average Chinese internet user. So you have devices like Weibo for Twitter, Youki for YouTube, and Baidu for Google, etc., etc. However, this is where things get big, because ChinaNet's insular environment has given birth to something the rest of the world doesn't have, and that's WeChat, the world's first super app. And it has everything, it is everything. To the average WeChat user, the app is the equivalent of having WhatsApp, Uber, Instagram, Twitter, Zoom, Facebook, and Amazon all in one app. And there's more. You can use WeChat as your wallet, your debit, your credit. You can even use it for day trading, to managing investments, to trading in stock, to renting out property, or to even hiring housekeeping, to more mundane stuff like ordering food at the restaurant beforehand, so it's piping hot and ready for you when you arrive. So basically, you want it, you get it. WeChat's got you covered. WeChat knows what media you consume, i.e. what books, films, television, viral vids. It can also track your location, your route to work. It knows what restaurants you frequent. It knows who you talk to and what you talk about. It knows what services you hire, and what you like to spend your hard-earned cash on. Now, Facebook, for instance, gets a lot of flack for monitoring consumer web traffic and selling the data gained from its clientele to various advertisers. So just imagine what would happen if those very same advertisers, those very same companies and organizations somehow got their hands on all the consumer data collected by WeChat ever. Data from about 889 million people as of 2016 on WeChat's databases. That's right, it's been an absolute goldmine for advertisers with regards to WeChat. For this reason, the rest of the world is rushing to create its first super app with little to no success. You can see this with Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram all trying to ram in new features and functions into their respective apps, hoping they'll go into viral use and experience the same success WeChat did. Again, to no avail. WeChat truly is the world's first and only super app. And those are just some of the topical issues people have with this app. This doesn't just stop at selling your data to businesses so they can bombard you with personally curated ads or targeted advertising. It's so much more than that. Because it's a well-known fact that the Chinese government can legally obligate Chinese companies, much like WeChat's parent company, digital giant Tencent, to share with it consumer information, which it then passes on to government censors, who are definitely not averse to censoring sensitive media or monitoring Chinese citizens, constantly on the lookout for dissidents or criminals. In fact, this sort of behavior is already fairly well documented, with WeChat itself having received immense criticism from several human rights groups over accusations of regular indulgence in surveillance and censorship at the behest of the Chinese government. An Amnesty International report in 2016 claimed that WeChat failed to meet even the most basic standards and criterion of internet privacy pertaining to government censorship and surveillance. And this is something that's been corroborated by several media reports and reports from similar organizations. So is this all worth it? I suppose that's something that the individual prospective user ought to judge for themselves. That's all for today. Thank you for watching Factish. It'd be great if you could like, comment, and subscribe to our channel Friday if you want to see more content like this. Thank you.